talking about the Anchor link that we just sent out, it's a lot like these VEP community updates, except for they're a little bit more entertaining, a little bit more lively. They stay around 20 minutes for your drive time. The goal is we want your clients to be able to listen to the Humanize IT podcast and kind of get a better feel for what it is we do, rather than just talking to them about speeds, tickets, and all this other stuff, but showing them that there is a human element to what we do, that we actually care about their businesses. And we have our fun trials and tribulations, but as well, in the Humanize IT is talking to you guys about what does it mean to take care of the business? What actually is going on? How do you bridge that gap? So we try to have a little bit of a lesson and a fail of the week. So, Skip was talking about his his scrap pile, like what's the lesson there? Like, well, you'll see the fail of the week during that episode was I almost died using the scrap pile. if the conversation about like me trying to hot swap a battery in a UPS doesn't get you going, this one will.
Yeah, and I really like the approach that we've taken with this. So it is meant for you guys in our community to listen to those. It should be applicable for what you're doing. But as Adam mentioned, you may have some customers that you may want to turn them on to these podcasts as well, because we are kind of putting a business leader focus on it, so that owners of an organization understand what's going on, what's kind of the underpinnings of kind of the details, the flip side of the coin, or whatever you want to talk about. What's it take for an IT organization to really operate? And so, it's a good way to bring those guys in. They can get some perspective on, what their IT team, because, you are their IT team, and that's the great thing about, what we offer is, you become a part of their organization. So if they're really going to look at you as part of their organization, a good business owner is going to want to understand how that operates, what goes on in there. So we keep it high level. We're not talking about tickets. We're not talking about speeds and feeds. I mean, it's technology and it's application in business. So it's a good bit of information that some of your clients may be interested in. And if you really want to, kind of up your creds or, look really good, and you got something that you want to talk about, hit us up at coaching@virtualc.biz about a topic, and Adam and I will bring you in and we will make you part of our podcast. And that's a great thing to, kick off with your clients. And so, hey, I was on this podcast last week and, I want to share it with you guys. So, it's a good exercise to go through. But even if you don't want to be on the podcast and you just got something you think, hey, I'd love to hear you guys chat away for a few minutes about whatever, send it to us. We're all open for that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And, the goal is have a topic in mind, something you feel is important, that you think that a CEO would want to know about IT, or maybe a truth that you've come up with over the past 15 years or 20 years in IT. Like, the one thing I know, because coming up, like, we have conversations, I think this week due out is death by scaling. Like, what happens when you scale too fast in your MSP? What happens when you scale too fast in your business? What if you're not prepared? What happens there? And then we have other conversations around fallout. Like, how do you deal, like in IT, it's all about the disaster recovery. It's a big part of our lives. And just having a very frank conversation about what that means, or the distributed workforce, or the fact that the better an IT guy is at his job, the less people notice him.
Mm-hmm.
And just like, there are other professions that are like that too. Your finance department, your janitors. These people, you just don't see them because they're doing their job really well. And how should you treat those workers, and how to be thankful for them, and how to increase your presence. So really good conversations we're having, and they're entertaining. And there's always there's always a fail story at the end that's kind of lighthearted, and just we all can laugh because, man, I've been there. And I think in the unseen worker, the fail story is when good morning and good night are interchangeable. People don't realize what time is it? You know, the number of times there's a reason why I wear a watch today is because I've worked so many like long hours that like, crap, what is it? Oh, it's 3 a.m. already. You know, and I got 1 hour before my change window's done. You know, I gotta get going. So it's just there are a lot of fun stories to IT, and you know, I'm hoping to have some CEOs on to talk about like their side and how they perceive IT, and to teach you guys more about what's going on. So right now we're just figuring it out. We've been working on this for about 6 months, and we just released the first 2 episodes last week. So tell your friends, get lots of people on there. Well, we're excited about it. So
yeah, I think our marketing guys are telling us click like and subscribe. Isn't that it?
Is that what they say in Twitch?
I don't know. I hear that on YouTube all the time. It kind of gets annoying, but now I'm supposed to say that.
Like and subscribe my channel right now. Click that button right there. Like, you know, if I was like right there. So today, you know, one of the things I want to talk about is Skip has been bringing up some really interesting data sets. You just got done talking to Evolve, so I wanted to give you a little bit of a recap of how did that go.
Yeah, I think it went really good, and you know, so you know, hopefully you guys will see some of those guys joining the community. I tried to put out a real poignant question to those guys, and I'll leave it for you as well. What is your remote work strategy going to look like? Do you have one? So, you know, that was kind of my little sales pitch and the question there, but let me kind of put this in more applicable terms for you and just blatantly say this. There is a coming remote work initiative, right? I think we all know that, right? But let's think about what that's really going to mean for us, all right? We're going to need a complete solution because we don't want our clients going, hey, I'm going to, you know, utilize remote workers more. And we're going, okay, well, we probably ought to, you know, get the firewall upgraded. Okay. And then we get the firewall upgraded and then like, oh, you don't have enough licenses for this, or, you know, hey, we need more of this. And it just becomes kind of one of those snowballing things that really drives your clients crazy. All right. So you need to understand, hey, okay, Mr. Customer, if you're going to do remote work, this is what you need. All right. And how do we figure out what this is what you're going to need? You know, are they going to save money on real estate? Are they going to be able to, you know, let go of a floor in their office space as far as leasing goes? Are they paying for travel that they're not going to have to pay for in the future? I mean, there's all these different numbers that are going to go into this. And at the end of the day, you know, clients are going to want to know, hey, what do I need for my employees to work remotely? And when you can come down and say, hey, let's calculate some costs and I can help you develop a budget, all right? And when that budget is built around, hey, it looks like you're going to save about $10,000 in OpEx or, you know, employee retention or something. When you go through that and say, hey, you guys are going to save about $10,000 a month in OpEx expenses, then when you position the product and, you know, the quote in context of that, well, now you're making business decisions. You're helping them make business decisions. And, you know, the 60 or the 80 or even the $100,000 quote that you thought, no, they'll never sign up for this. But when you say, hey, if we do this, we're going to save you guys $10,000 a year, all of a sudden now you got their attention. And they're going to be, $10,000 a month. Now you've got their attention and they're really going to be able to understand this. So there's one more bit of data that I want to put out there and want you guys to think about this. Gartner's put out a study. Theirs was released the first part of April. Okay. And some of you may have heard me talk about it, so I won't go into too much detail, but they interviewed a bunch of they interviewed a bunch of CFOs across the nation, and roughly, I'm bending the numbers a little bit, but there was a demographic in there that basically it boils down to this: when your customers come back and we kind of find what the new normal is going to look like, we have a real potential of 1/5 of your customers are going to leave 1/5 of their employees at home. All right. So think about that. You got customers and they have, 25 employees. Right? That's a common value. All right. And of all your customers that have 25 employees, they're going to leave 1/5 of those. They're going to leave 5 of their employees remotely. All right. What is that going to be? You need an initiative to build that out. A little bit more data. IBM released a study that they done, much more detailed. Theirs came out. I'll send out the Gartner link, Bob. Theirs came out just a few days ago. IBM surveyed 25,000 employees that had been sent home as a result of the pandemic response. And of those, 54% of them said they want to continue working like that. All right. Now, there's a want in there, right? So you got to take that with a grain of salt. Just because they want to do something doesn't mean they're going to get to do something. But if you just look at that number to start with, 54%, man, that's a big number. So when those guys come back to the office and they start talking to their bosses, how are their bosses? How are those executive decision makers going to handle that? Are they going to have a process to go through and say, hey, yeah, I think you can work at home. If we can monitor some KPIs and, hey, working from home will save us some money. There was also some other data I've been seeing that, people are really evaluating their happiness factor. I don't have a really good study that kind of brings it all up. So I don't have any, marketing or terminology around that. But a lot of people are going, I like this work from home. And if I go back and my company's not going to let me do that, I'm going to find another company that will let me do this. So,
you want to be known, as I was telling people, like in a sidebar, you want to be known as the MSP who your clients will brag about. I know that's always the ideal, but when everybody's reintegrating and they're talking about their frustrations about not being able to do things in the workplace, your client should be like, we don't have those problems.
Yeah.
And so there's going to be a lot of frustrations. We're going to see stress. And as your clients are reacclimating to the new norm, it'll never go back to the way it was. Sorry, people. I'm just going to throw it out there right now.
Yeah.
However, what we do now is that we are establishing a new norm with that 54% of people wanting to still work from home. And I foresee this just becoming a regular ask of the MSPs of a remote workforce support. Mm-hmm. Does your MSP support this? Do you have a plan for it? And if you can do a marketing campaign that says, absolutely, we are remote workforce friendly MSP.
Yep.
New York's first workforce friendly, or Lincoln, Nebraska's first workforce friendly MSP. Oh, now you've got a campaign going.
Right.
And because those $10,000 firewalls that your client just didn't see a use for before are looking really appetizing right now when you say, look, that old FortiGate isn't going to that 80D or whatever you're running, whatever it is you're running now. It's been a while since I've done a
really old one.
That undersized FortiGate isn't going to sustain a streaming strategy for you. We yep. can't do it. You're going to need a 200E, or you're going to need a whatever your sales item is. And here is why. If you buy this yep. $10,000 thing right now and support contract for it, we will be able to sustain up to 100 or 50 sustained sessions with clients. I was just looking at my session here while I was talking to Skip earlier today, and I was at 1 meg. Just with our connection, just talking back and forth. So we were trying to figure out why we were a little juddery. And that's 1 meg for one connection. And that wasn't even high def. And so what does it mean when you've got 15 employees simultaneously yep. streaming? And what if a couple of them are doing webinars? What does the bandwidth look like? And what does that communication look like for your clients at 15? What about 20? What are your larger clients? They're sitting at 75, 100, 200 people. what does that look like? Especially when you have half of them working from home.
So let me get really practical with that example, Adam, because, so for an ADD, all right, so that's, some of us may recognize what that is, and yeah, that's an old box, right? But it's not unreasonable to think that that might not still be in some of your customers' environments or something like that. And so to upgrade that, maybe the company's evolved a little bit over time. They're a lot bigger. It was already being stressed probably, just for capacity. And when you go back to those guys and say, yeah, we do need to replace this firewall, and you come in and, realistically speaking, to upgrade an ADD to something, today's standard and with increased capacity, all right, we're looking at 15,000, maybe 20. All right. I mean, it depends on what you want to put on it. And that conversation with that client, because he bought that ADD back in who knows when, right? And he paid what, $800 for it? And you hooked it up for another 1,000 maybe? So, how do you justify that? How do you come back and go, hey, yes, I need you to spend $15,000. And the client goes, oh, I can't do that. But when you come in and you make this part of the strategic discussion and they go, hey, I've got this employee that I can't lose them. They're really critical and they're wanting to stay home. All right. And if I lose them, it's going to take me a year to train someone else. And I'm going to have to pay them 20% more probably. All right. To get this certified type employee or whatever. And when you come back and say, hey, you can make this one $20,000 spend and you'll protect that one employee. Or you say, hey, you make this $20,000 spend and you can cancel that lease on the other floor of office space that you're not going to need anymore because so many employees are working remotely. Whatever the context is, that's what you need to build these conversations around. Not that, hey, you got a crap old ADD out there and you need to upgrade it. It's no, this box is going to support this business initiative, retaining employees, getting new employees, reducing OpEx costs. Those are the values that are going to set you apart. Those are going to drive more business. So everything that we're doing, what we're talking about here are things that, especially in this remote work arena, they're becoming really, really tangible right now. But if you talk about these in the right context, it's you being a strategic partner and not a vendor. Okay. And so I'll wrap up this little part of the conversation, and I'll ask you guys the same question I asked the Evolve members. Okay. And this is a good place to kind of keep, thinking about as we move along here. All right. And you guys have heard us talk about this a lot more, but do you think that most of your clients, right? And I know we have clients that are all over the spectrum, but if you could put it together in a formula and come up with a number value, a percentage, would it be 50% or more of your clients? Does a larger percentage of them think of you as a strategic partner, or do they think of you as a vendor? Now, they may like you as a vendor. You may be a great vendor. Okay. I'm not saying vendor is a bad term. All right. I'm just saying vendor is a role that we fall into, or we can be the strategic partner. And now think about this. This is my definition between a partner and a vendor. All right. A partner helps make business decisions. A vendor gets informed about business decisions. So in context of this, do you want your company going, hey, we've decided that we're going to send 1 in 5 of our employees home. We're going to redo our remote workforce experience. I need you guys to build us up a Citrix farm and set us up with this cloud-based solution, right? And you're like, I'm not a Citrix partner and I've never heard of that cloud solution, right? So because you weren't part of the process, right? Now, if you're a Citrix guy, it'd be great. But, for those of you that aren't, that could be a real issue. So if you're part of the decision process, you can help your customer. And honestly, we're the experts. That was one of the questions we had from that Evolve group was, how maybe you can zero in on an industry and become an industry expert. I don't think you need to do that. I think you need to be industry aware, all right? But you don't have to be the industry expert to provide advice for those guys. They're the experts. So collaborate with them. And that way you get to be the partner and not the vendor.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we're a bit of a broken record here, but we're just really
Yep.
trying to get
Yep.
this out
I
there
do too.
that, until I hear it start coming back to us from the community, like these conversations that are happening, and like, oh man, our clients didn't know, or we now have these strategies, and we start seeing the real good feedback on this is how we're moving forward. This is our plan. Because right now, what I'm getting from most people is they're doing operations. We're keeping the lights on. We're too busy keeping the lights on.
Yep.
We've been serving our customers great, but you know what? So is everybody else.
Yep.
What are you doing to differentiate yourself in this time? This is a shifting time.
It is.
People are
That's
less
the important
loyal
part.
during this time. They're more concerned about their self-interest with their business. So that loyalty takes a freaking nosedive during these times, and people will start thinking, what's going to keep my business afloat? They will sell their soul to keep their business afloat, and you are far from their
They
soul.
will go to jail to keep their business afloat, right?
Yeah, that is true.
That is true. Yeah.
So the question is if you've been relying on loyalty so far, or if you think in your competitors, like you see some of them have loyalty to their MSP, now is the time to reach out and say, hey, look, I know you're really loyal to your current MSP, but we're really trying to help people with this distributed workforce and trying to help people reintegrate their companies. And if you don't feel confident that your MSP has reached out to you and started talking to you about reintegration, then maybe we can come in and do a quick audit and give you some feedback on what you need to do to reintegrate.
That's it.
And you have your sales guys have that narrative. And I think you'll be surprised at how many people will come back and say, yes, we need that. We know our state's opening back up. I know Nebraska's opening back up. I'm looking over here, like, just while you guys were talking, like May 20th, Nebraska is going to start opening up public venues and start doing different things on that date. Okay, how many of my clients does that affect? I need to be reaching out to them. Like, what is it? Yep. What's our strategy? What's our game plan? And the first clients that reach out to me are the ones that are going to get served first. And that's the kind of the urgency there. Like, if you get on my list, it's like the banks. You went to apply for your PPP, and it was a first come, first serve. And so you want your clients to know that, look, with us, it's the same way. We need you to come back and get on our list first so we can make sure that your reintegration strategy is in place, that your bandwidth is adequate, that nothing fell apart while you were gone. I know we've been taking care of your systems, monitoring looks good, but we really should do a checkup.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, these, and no one can, dispute that we're in changing times. So you really have a couple options here. I mean, you can get beat up by the change, or you can, take charge on it. What was the analogy I used earlier today? You can either wag your tail, or you can get wagged by the tail. So, which one do you want to be on that? And
what's that movie, Wag the Dog?
I don't know. You got more movie references than I do.
Oh, yeah. We're a movie family.
So
I'm just trying to pull up the link for next week. So the last thing we need to talk about is the webinar next week. So for those of you who want to teach your clients how to do this, so I know some of you have been trying it already. I can see it when I meet with you, the different backgrounds. But I'm going to be doing an hour-long webinar on how to make your setup more professional. I'm going to go through lighting. I'm going to go through microphones. I'm going to go through presentation style, different software and toolkits that kind of help put this together. It's a free webinar. If you guys want to attend, then just go ahead and sign up. If I can find the link. I just used it like just 2 minutes ago.
I got it here, Adam.
I got it. I got it. Nope. Is that it?
Yeah. So, the Zoom sessions, or whatever video sessions have, really transformed business. Obviously, we know that, and people are utilizing tools in there. So, the virtual backgrounds for one thing, right? But you can really take that to the next level, and it really does set you apart. So this is a totally non-business sort of story, but my wife sat down and went through a ladies group meeting with our church. Okay. And they did it over Zoom. All right. And of course, so yeah, I'm the nerd, and I firmly believe that anything worth doing is worth overdoing. Right. So I went and set up a whole room. I had a big space. I had a whole wall set up with a green screen. All right. Positioned the camera. We worked on lighting. And so my wife sat there in a chair. And so it wasn't kind of this office setting. I mean, she was way back in sort of settings, a little bit more of a movie style setup. And she was in this, what I guess I would have to admit was a really cool she shed. All right. So, but here's my point of this. We did that so well that most people on the call thought she was really sitting in that she shed. Okay. So, it came across really, really well, but the tools that I used to do that weren't a $20,000 studio suite of tools. Okay. It's the same tools that Adam's going to talk about. So you can do some really cool stuff with this. And yeah, it does set you apart. Sometimes when you join that meeting and you can do something just a little bit different, that's a little bit of a competitive edge. It may be small in the grand scheme of things, but sometimes all you need is that little bit of, extra professionalism to kind of drive you over the edge and let your clients, really see what you're capable of doing.
I mean, this has been my illustration lately. If whoever hasn't seen this Reddit thread, my narrative on the webinar when we've been talking to people about it is, one of these people looks professional. Obviously, he's a Twitcher, he's a streamer. You don't need to look all that trendy and stuff like that. You can have a setup like mine or Skip's where, we can change the backgrounds to be an office or the deck of a starship, whatever you want. But the important part is your sound is good.
Yes.
And you see these people on this call, and imagine this was 4 vendors. Who are you going to trust? Who looks different here? Who is clear? Who's going to be well spoken? And who obviously has taken the time to make sure that you're having a good experience? It's obvious to me. Yep. The rest of them are chumps in their back rooms with their beige lighting and walls.
Yep.
The person on the top right is a professional.
So a real specific case in point here, I met with a client earlier this week. 2 employees joined the call. One was joining from the office. All right, it's in a place they're opening back up a little bit, so he went to the office. But he's using, it's clear that he was using the microphone and his laptop in the office. So it kind of looked like office setting. The other guy is still sitting at home. All right, is in the living room. Questionable couch design features in my mind, but anyway, where he's at. But the guy at home had gone the extra mile and had a great audio setup. And he joined the call, and actually the first thing I said was, wow, great radio voice. I mean, because it was warm, it had this presence to it. And so when he talks,
he had a snowball,
listen to him.
He had a snowball, didn't he?
No, I don't know what he had, but it was it was in frame. So, I mean, you can go out there a couple of ways. I said he didn't worry so much about the video, but his mic was on a boom. It came over, it was in front of him, and it sounded great, and it made a great impression. Yes. So you can really, I think you can do yourselves a lot of favor. Yeah, check out Adam's webinar next week. It's going to be very informative.
And that's what I had today. So I just want people to know that the webinar is coming up. It's available to really, once again, hit down on people who are working towards remote setups, and your MSP needs to support these. This is the strategy that's coming up. This is what people are going to be concerned about. And you need to decide how you're going to present this to your clients and how you're going to align with them. And they're all snowflakes. As I was saying earlier, everybody's a snowflake right now. This is triage. There is no tried and true process. That'll happen in a year. We'll start getting the process down. We'll get it hammered in. And this is what a remote presence looks like. Right now, you have to treat each one of your clients as independent entities. Some of them are manufacturing. They can't work remotely. Some of them are on-site sales. They can't work remotely, but their administrative staff can. And so you have to help them. You have to let them teach you about their business model. So you can say, okay, here's what remote working looks like for you guys. And they're going to tell their friends in that same industry, hey, you know what?
Yep.
This MSP really helped us out and helped us set up. Just get a call with them.
Right.
Get those referral cards ready. And
Remote.
you're gonna do well. Right now, everybody's panicking. They're looking for somebody to help them reintegrate. Knowing that people are wanting to work remotely, you having a solution, perfect storm for a great second, third, fourth quarter. So
Yep.
second quarter sucks. Let's get third and fourth quarter looking awesome.
Absolutely.
And you can do that by giving your clients what they're asking for, and that is remote work setups.
Yeah, remote working is going to, whatever it's going to look like, it's going to have a dramatic effect on our entire economy.
Yep.
You know, no business operates in a vacuum. So if you've got, you know, a bunch of clients that working for you, with you that don't get on the remote working bandwagon, that doesn't mean that their business is not going to be affected by remote working. And so, you know, as long as we're not involved in that, if we're not leading that sort of initiative, we're just going to be, you know, trying to play the hands we're dealt. And I'd rather stack the deck in my favor. So, yeah, that's my big push, is to really get involved in the remote work initiatives. The video presence, the telepresence is a big part of it. But whatever it's going to look like for your organization, you need a strategy, and you need to be defining that right now. If you wait until your clients ask you, it's too late. You need to be on the move right now. And I know it's challenging because, yeah, I mean, I'm in Texas, and so, man, we started opening last week. You know, I've seen a few questionable decisions by business owners, you know, and you know, but that's not my call to make. The state's opening, all right, and so I've got to be ready. I've got to be working on that. And if you got some questions that you want to, you know, spitball some ideas, especially around products. I mean, so I'm the operational nerd. So, you know, if you got, you know, something really cool with VMware View, I'd love to see it. You know, I just love knowing about that. But either way, strategically, operationally, whatever, hit Adam and I up, coaching@virtualc.biz. You know, we'd love to talk to you more about this and help out in any way that we can.
Yep. All right. I'm going to wrap it up for today. Thank you. And again, reach out, get some one-on-one time with us. Let's talk things through. I know a lot of people have been attending these calls. So some of you I haven't talked to in a while. So reach out, get some time with us, get on our Calendly, and let's start creating strategies for you. Till then, We'll talk to you guys later.